Yeah, good day and welcome to today's webinar on SNP Pricing for Profit, Easy Management of Prices in SAP. Yes, my name is Frederick Priester. I'm the moderator of today's webinar. By my side and your expert and the one who will guide you through our webinar today is Mr. Olechno. Before we start, I want to give you some organizational information. Today we have about 30 to 45 minutes scheduled for our webinar, for our presentation. The webinar recording and also the slides of the presentation will be sent to you after the webinar by email. So if you have questions after the webinar, we also have an email and telephone number for you on the right side. You can see, so feel free to contact us. You can also ask your questions in the navigation window on the right while the webinar. So these answers to your questions will be sent to you also after our webinar via email, and we will answer them in the next 1 to 2 days. So I will start with the idea of SNP in a nutshell, and as I said, my colleague will guide you through the main part of our webinar. So let's take a look at the SNP. Basically, we call ourselves the transformation company, which means our core business is the transformation of sub-centric IT environments. We distinguish here ones from economic reasons, which can lead to changes in IT landscapes, and on the other hand, also IT-driven or technical causes, which can play a role here. In other words, if we look at the economic reasons, these may be mergers, acquisitions, or sales, spin-offs, or general restructuring within the companies, or looking at the technical point of view, for example, consolidations, harmonizations, or with regard to the new technologies, for example, now on everyone's lips, topic S/4HANA and HANA as a database. And yeah, the thing what makes us unique in the market concerning these transformation projects or change projects is the fact that besides the consulting, we are also a software company and have developed a software solution especially for such those projects. This is the SNP transformation backbone, and this makes our approach unique and makes it much faster, safer, and more automated, as you can imagine. And all our know-how flows also into this software solution, making our experience much more valid. Yeah, let's have a quick look on at the world map. How are we positioned? We are originally from the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Our headquarters are located in Germany, in Heidelberg. Grown a lot in the recent years, as you can see. So we have the advantage that we can serve our customers directly over several time zones. We have more than 1,350 employees yet worldwide, and that's really a big growth. A short look at the past or our development. What makes us very proud, of course, that as you can see, the curve is pointing up, both in terms of our numbers of employees, as well as our sales, and on the other hand, it makes us happy because it proves very popular how we do such transformation projects, and of course our consulting approaches on the market. Certainly there is also a very large experience helpful, which we have built up over the years, and that's meanwhile over 20 years. So that's also, that's from SNP, and from my side I'm finished, so I would hand over to my colleague, Mr. Olechno, and hope you enjoy the further webinar.
Thank you. Hi, this is Maciej Olechno speaking. I'll be your guide with today's webinar. I work as a SAP Sales and Distribution consultant, and I would like to present to you our solution for pricing. So let's have a look at problems with pricing in SAP at the moment. We don't really have a transparent edition and price presentation tool. We have no way to simulate the transaction price. We can't really track and log the changes in transaction price over time. we don't have a tool to multi-level approve the price changes we want to carry out in the system. We do not have any cooperation with the workflow in the price changes process. We don't have a tool to change prices and pricing condition values in bulk, including transaction price. And SAP lacks an intuitive report with pricing conditions and transaction prices over time too. It's worth noting. So let's have a look at the standard SAP functionality and how users handle pricing and pricing changes at the moment. So this is an example of how users can change value of a pricing condition. So editing and recording pricing conditions is carried out by the means of transaction. Here we have V key 12 for a condition type ZPFP for the key combination customer and article with release status. So once we access it, we are in the second screen on the presentation, and we need to fill in the data such as sales organization, distribution channel, customer, and article, and then we see the articles for a given customer. And after clicking through 4 screens, we actually see the value of a given condition type for a given period of time. So we can edit and preview a single condition. It could be a price, it could be a discount. We can edit and preview a pricing condition for a selected date. We don't have really any means to massively export pricing conditions and their values, for example, outside of SAP program. And we don't really have a firm control over price change. So why SNP and our product? So firstly, we have a team of experienced professionals who managed and run a number of projects in the field of pricing for many customers, implemented in different technologies, including the use of previously presented simulation techniques of pricing procedures through so-called technical sales order. And basing on this experience, we know that such solutions are inefficient, and as a result, they do not meet customers' expectations, because the extraction of pricing condition and calculation of transaction prices simply takes too long. So, for example, in one of our projects, it took 2 days in order to extract basic price lists, which mostly doesn't meet the business requirements for most customers. For this reason, we have developed an original algorithm for searching and converting tables from the pricing conditions. And basing on this algorithm, we've built solutions for customers. We have such a solution implemented. We conducted performance tests, which confirm that this algorithm can process even very large amounts of prices. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of pricing positions, and we don't really offer a box solution, but our algorithm, which is the calculation engine, and we adjust it to a specific customer for his specific pricing procedure and his needs in terms of what files, what pricing conditions, and how should they be extracted. So, what includes the new version of the product? The main change is the central cockpit for price management, which contains all the advantages of the previous versions, along with a number of new functionalities, improvements, and additional tools. These are the screenshots of, we are going to have a look at them during the live demo. And this is the central cockpit with 5 steps. And we need to go over all of these 5 steps in order to carry out pricing condition change in the system. our product can cooperate with SAP workflow process. As we can see, there is a price approval waiting for a user. Here we can analyze changes, and we also have everything that is carried out in our central cockpit is also logged here. I'll show you just in a moment. So, what are some of the features of the new version? So as I said, it's all in one. So one version of the cockpit for creating price change scenarios, price management, and transaction price simulations. We can work with multiple scenarios at once for planning prices in many user-defined aspects and possible business cases. We can simulate the transaction price, and we can also see the impact of changes for a single pricing condition proposed by the user on the final transaction price according to fully customizable pricing procedure and ALV grid. I want to underline that our solution is safe because these are only simulations and change proposal, and we don't have any risk of accidental changes in the system prices. So changes in price lists can only be accepted and by authorized persons after they have passed the full cycle of approval cycle. And we also have dynamic selection screens allowing for any non-standard data restrictions for both price updates and simulation scope. The solution is flexible. The tool can be personalized and adapted to the existing system configuration at the customer end. So we have definable file layouts, list forms, and support for custom solutions. A product is has definable configurations of authorizations at every stage of application operation. And this is the level of authorization on objects, and we can fully define the acceptance levels. We make use of the two-man rule. It means that the person who proposes the changes cannot really accept them at the same time. So one man changes the prices and another user carries out the acceptance. Our product fully cooperates with SAP workflow, and it can be adapted to the character of business. So we can have 2, 3, or 7 levels of acceptance if there is need for it. We support mass changes and acceptance of new price lists within user-specified data, and the application is available into language versions. So the solution overview, we could call them 2 sub-modules of pricing for profit. The pricing condition manager serves the purpose of massively change prices if we have a known fixed change policy and we carry out periodic price changes, or the second submodule serves the purpose of price policy planning, in which we can simulate the transaction price and possibly change the real system prices. We have a cycle here which starts with data export from SAP for, if need be, repeatable use. So we export it to Excel file, and we have the possibility to reuse the Excel file which we exported in a later stage. In stage 2, here we work on the price changes in the Excel file, and then when the changes are done, we upload the Excel file again to the so-called planned prices. These are not the system prices. These are, let's say, parallel prices, which only after verification and workflow approval could be replaced with planned prices, with system prices. So we have the planned prices in the system. we need a user with the right authorization to carry out the verification of pricing condition changes. Then there is workflow, and as soon as the final stage of approval is through, the planned prices will replace the system prices. And if need be, we can reuse the Excel file once again. So this is the process run. We firstly export the pricing conditions into an Excel file. We change them outside of SAP. Then we uploaded again the Excel file of updated pricing condition. And from this step on, the process branches out. We can either have a standard method of verification and approval through the Pricing for Profit Cockpit. So we have the verification and the status update, or we can start the workflow. Here in the example, we have two levels of approval. So we start the workflow. We have a user which has the authority to approve the first level. Then we have the second level approval. And when the prices are approved, we carry out the pricing condition update directly in the system. So let's see it in the demo system. Okay, so as I mentioned during the presentation, the fundamental change is the central cockpit, which is accessible from this position in the menu. And it includes all the advantages of the previous version, but it offers new improvements and additional tools. So we start the cockpit by clicking on it twice, and this is the Pricing for Profit cockpit. And in the first step, we need to fill in the mandatory fields, because all the fields in the step 1 are mandatory. Let's say we want to change the pricing condition values of the condition type ZPFP, which is technically speaking a price in SAP, for sales organization 1000, distribution channel P4, and access sequence 305. This is by default the today's date for price list, and this date is the date for which we will download the values for today. We can change it, of course, but let's leave it as it is. And the second date range is when we finally accept the prices, for which period should the changes be valid. We can, of course, change them later in the Excel file I'll show you. So, step 2. We need to, here we can restrict data. So, for example, we don't want to see all of the ZPFP prices and change for all materials and all customers. So, limit them to, let's say, 201 to 206 for the customer 4444. Dynamic condition, this is the case when these fields are not enough for us. And for example, access sequence table is different. For example, I changed it from 305 to 306, so we have different fields here. So we can pop it up, and these fields which were not there will be here. So this could be price list and document currency. This is the further restriction of data. So let's put it back as 305, and let's go over to the step 3, which is run creation. Well, click it. We need to give in, fill out a run description, let's name it test EN 20th/3, 2018. The system automatically gives us a number, scenario number 137. Here is our description, and here we have statuses which will change in accordance to our current status. So now we have ready to import Excel file. If there is need, we can attach a file for a scenario. But for now, let's go over to preparing data. We will generate an Excel file. Let's name it test EN20 as our description and save it. Alright, the file should be there. Yeah, that's the one. So we need to open it. And we have the materials, the articles from 201 to 206 according to our data restriction, and the values for all of them. So let's say we want to change the first 4 items, for example 750. So these are the columns that are pre-configured. Of course, we can change the order of columns, the new values. This is customizable, but this is the pre-configured version. Let's change it to lower the price, the value here 840 and 100. So this is the new value column and the old value. And what's important in this file is new date to and new date from. Let's say we want to overwrite our settings here. So the new date will be, for example, 1st, 4th. And this is the date on which the changes will be due as soon as we accept them. Let's say here we would add 1st, 5th, 2018. Alright, and we'll leave 20th and 20th in these 2 cases. So let's save the file, close it, and now after generating the Excel file we can upload it again. Let's say we have a number of these files and by accident we click something else. The system has a protection against such cases, and chosen Excel file is different than generated from the template. So the file is only connected with one Excel file, and the system will protect us from any other files which don't belong to this run, to this scenario. So this was test EN. Now the system is loading the data. Now we have we can simulate the date. So let's click it, and this is the old value of ZPFP. We had 705. Then the old transaction price, because pricing procedure is a sum of pricing condition. It's never only one pricing condition, or almost never. So the old transaction price was this one, and now we simulate the price after changing it from 705 to 750. So this is the old transaction price, and we see that the new transaction price, even though the change was 45, the new transaction price behaves a little differently because the system takes into account other pricing condition in this pricing procedure. So this is our simulation. Let's say all worked as we intended. So the changes are correct. So let's move it as the last step to accept. This step, when you click it, starts a workflow procedure, and I set the system so that in this case the user can accept his own changes. So let's go to SAP Business Workplace, to the inbox and workflow items. So we see this is the workflow step we've just created, 1225. So let's click it, and we wanted to change 4 items. Let's say we only want to approve 3 of them because we think we should debate over the 4th item, but the 3 of them can be confirmed. We can either set all prices to confirm or uncheck them. So let's say we want the 3 of them, and we can, again, if we want, we can, from this selection screen, we can simulate the price once again, because this usually would be a different person accepting it. So yeah, let's say the price simulation is okay, so we confirm them, we accept it, and the workflow item is gone. Let's go back to the main cockpit. It was 137, right? Yeah, that was our run. And now we are at the second stage of price approval, of changes approval. It can be that we want to approve the price from the central cockpit instead of workflow. So we can, as long as we have the right authorization, of course, we can accept it. This is the second step. Then, if you want to change from workflow procedure to the central cockpit procedure, we need to accept that this acceptance will cancel workflow task. Let's say we want to do it. And again, as we remember from the first approval level, we only accepted 3 of 4 prices. Let's say at the second level, we only want to approve 2 of them. You can again have a price simulation, how the transaction price, and all the new amount of a selected pricing condition. So let's say we want to approve 2 of them, confirm it, yes. Now the planned prices have replaced the system prices, and as we will compare now the changes in the Excel file with the real changes in the system. So let's go to the transaction for system prices. We change it for condition type VPFP for the key combination, the first one, customer and article, for sales organization 1000, distribution channel P4, and customer 444 for today's date. Oh yeah, and we limited the article range from 201 to 206. So let's compare the values. The new value, and remember we have only accepted the first top items, so 201 and 203. We have deselected this one at the first price changes approval level, and this one at the final stage, the second one. So, and we also changed the dates here from 1st 4th 2018. This should be valid. So for now, the amount is 705, the old value, and that's correct because it's valid for today's date, and the changes should be valid from 1st April. So as we see, the system has already set the date for this article to valid to 31st 3rd, and if we click it and see the validity periods, see that this change was already in the system, valid from S in the Excel file from 1st 4th until 9999, the technical date, and the amount is as here 750 and 750. So checks out. And the second price is also should be from 1st 5th and is valid to 30th, the last date of April. And if we change validity period, we had 820. Well, we still have 820, but from 1st May should be 800, and this is exactly the case. So one more thing, let's go back to our cockpit, around 147. What else? As I mentioned, we have also run logs. We can see who has changed what during a single run. So the run has been created. This is the first log. Here is the scenario run given by the system and our title or our description. Second step was we imported the file with the file name, and we have also the information that the workflow has been started. And this is the final confirmation by whom, by which user, and which scenario number. And the two items that we've changed with the old and the new value, and the information that the status has been set to finished. So yeah, that's the functionality. Let's move over to this was the presentation. So thank you for attention. I will give my words over to my colleague.
Yeah, thank you for the really interesting presentation. So maybe a few words in addition, as mentioned, at the beginning you will receive the presentation and also the webinar recording via email. All your questions will be answered also after the webinar, and you will receive our answers in the next 1 to 2 days. So if you are interested also in an individual one-to-one session, please also feel free to contact us. And I have to thank you for your appearance and your attendance, and of course also to Mr. Lechner for a really interesting presentation, the webinar. And yeah, I wish you a pleasant day, have a nice week, and see you soon on our next webinars. Bye bye.
Thank you.